English.kást. Anglický podcast na cesty.
Dobrý den, vítám vás u dalšího dílu s Martinem. Dneska jsme natočili ještě jeden díl o jeho stejném tématu, o jeho vztahu s přítelkyní. A tato přítelkyně, pokud jste si neposlouchali v předchozím díle, je z Ameriky a poznal ji tady v Čechách, takže nám ještě jednou poví, jak přítelkyni poznal, co na to rodina, jestli tam jsou nějaké jazykové problémy nebo kulturní rozdíly, ale budeme se snažit mluvit tentokrát na úrovni B1. Takže já tady ještě Martina jednou vítám teda.
Moc krát děkuju.
A dáme si spolu ten rozhovor v jednodušší formě díky tomu, že Martin je učitel budoucí a je schopný rozlišit úroveň C1 a B1, takže my se pokusíme to teďka osekat a dát takovou tu jednodušší formu toho, co jsme si vlastně povídali v předchozím díle. Takže já se ho budu jasně ptát, Martin se bude snažit spíš jasnějc a stručnějc odpovídat za použití jednodušší slovní zásoby, ale pořád se budeme točit kolem toho tématu vztahy, což je i k té maturitě nebo podobně, když budete mluvit o svých přátelích, jak jste se s kým poznali, tak určitě důležitý. Takže jdem na to. And my first question to Martin is if he can introduce us, his girlfriend, a little bit.
Of course. So her name is Sitli. It's quite an uncommon name, so you can just call her Sita. Mm-hmm. And she's from America. She is studying to be a forensic scientist. And she is the kindest person I know.
Could you just tell us who forensic
scientist, of course.
Forensic scientist is?
Well, I hope I'm not gonna say it wrong now, but it's basically I don't know if you ever watched a show where the police brings in all the evidence and then you have the scientist who looks into the evidence and says, ha, this DNA matches this person, or this shows that he was on drugs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's forensic scientist.
So if you still don't understand, it's something like a detective for criminal cases. Yeah. Okay. And how long have you been together?
It's been a year now.
Okay, and could you tell us the story? How did you meet your girlfriend?
Of course, I love telling this story. I met her when she came to Czech Republic with choir. She sings beautifully, and I got to see her for 2 days only. But I immediately fell in love with her the first moment I saw her. And for some reason she saw some interest in me too. We exchanged numbers, and ever since then we've been talking every single day. And when you talk every single day, it just happens sooner or later that you find out if you like each other or not. And luckily, that's
so
how
it was a love at the first sight.
Yes.
Yeah. How did you feel after she left Czech Republic?
Sad. I felt crushed. Not necessarily because I felt like I had to be with her, I had to be her boyfriend, but she was such a sweet person. I've never met a person like this before. I just felt sad that I probably wouldn't see her again. That was before we started talking a whole lot.
And did you plan to see her again immediately?
I mean, when I meet foreign friends, I always plan to meet them one day again, but it doesn't always happen. But I'm glad with this case it did.
So you kept in touch, or you wrote each other every day, and called each other as well?
Yes, we started texting every day, 2 or 3 days after she left. Then we started calling after a month or so, and soon we started FaceTiming when you call with a video. And Yes, every day. Every
All
day.
right, nice. And when did you decide to visit her for the first time?
Well, thanks to my university, I had an option to go and visit her. So I just went and took it. It was quite immediate, honestly, after I got to meet her and her friends. I decided that I would like to go and see them again in America.
So, what did you do in the US exactly?
I visited a whole bunch of different schools. I visited primary schools, secondary schools, high schools, university, of course, where I was accommodated. And I learned how teaching in America works, how it's different from Czech Republic. And I tried to teach some classes, mostly talking about Czech Republic and our country.
Yeah, good. And did you even have time for your girlfriend there?
Well, luckily, thanks to her field, forensic science, she doesn't have much time either. So usually neither of us had time. So it did not feel like one was waiting for the other.
And how did you spend the time together there?
Mostly studying.
Studying.
But when we had time, we went to different cafes. We went on small dates to wherever we could in the small town of Finley. But honestly, just being next to each other, enjoying the fact that when I want to, I can hug her, I can kiss her, I can hold her hand whilst I'm doing my own thing. It's a luxury in a long distance relationship.
Yeah, it must have been romantic. Yeah. So that sounds like a romantic story, really. Yeah. Are there any maybe disadvantages about this relationship? Because now you are only talking about positive things. So is there something which you don't like about it?
The most difficult part is being so far from each other, especially when one is going through a rough time. Because when you go through a rough time, you want the person you love to be there for you, to be there with you, hold you. That's something we cannot do, and that we are really looking forward every single time we are about to see each other.
And when you see each other now, is it different? Have you, for example, introduced her to your parents here in Czech Republic? Yeah?
Yes, I did. She came and visited me for this summer for 2 months, and luckily, my family absolutely loves her. They adore her, and she loves them. So it all worked as great as I could imagine.
Perfect. And is there any language barrier, for example? Because not everyone in your family can speak English very well, right?
Definitely, especially my grandparents. For that, I had a job of a translator. And I was translating in between my family and her when I needed to. It was difficult.
And do they try to speak English, or do they just say Czech sentences and you translate it to your girlfriend?
No, they definitely tried, especially my parents. I was so proud of them as an English teacher, very proud. They tried hard, and it was a perfect opportunity to see that even with a low level of English, you can get the message across. You can use the few words you know, the little grammar that you know, and you can use that to communicate with another person quite well. They always found a way to communicate to each other.
Yeah, I think it can be a nice motivation as well for further studying English as well for your family.
For her to study Czech.
Yeah, and for her, so she studies Czech too.
She does. Actually, very soon after we've met, she started learning Czech, which I deeply appreciate since it's a very, very hard language.
And how is she good at this?
It's a really, really hard language. No, she is doing great. Honestly, I am surprised, especially by how much she wants to learn. She always tells me, hey, don't speak to me in English, use Czech because I want to learn Czech. And yeah, I promised her some Czech dates or just days when I'll only talk to her in Czech, and she seems excited.
Nice. So she could tell you some phrases, or do you think she's already like some level of Czech language?
I would say she is climbing on that A1. She is doing great though, and she uses a whole lot of Czech. She usually calls me Láska instead of any English pet name.
That's nice.
And or Můj milý, which is one of my favorites.
Must sound nice, really.
Very
yeah,
cute.
Cute,
Yes.
cute. Is there anything that you don't like about your girlfriend?
Yes, there's
Except
one
for
thing.
she is far away.
Okay, well, I really wanted to use that one. It's gonna sound like a cliche, but with full honesty, there is not a single thing I would change about her, not a single thing I dislike about her.
Oh, really?
Oh, there's a bunch of things that in which we are different, right? We don't always have the same opinions. We don't always see the things the same way. But she is such a great person, very smart, that when she tells me, she has a different opinion, I know there is a good reason for it. And I love conversing with her. I love talking to her about her opinions. And usually I get to learn a whole lot. And
Yeah.
so I must say, yeah, not a single thing I would dislike about her. Yet. We
Yet.
are in a long distance.
Yeah.
Maybe there's gonna be something that's gonna surprise me, maybe she is sleepwalking and she's gonna try to murder me. Snoring, but she's not, so we'll see.
And do you have something in common? Because now you said that probably you've got different opinions, but what do you have in common?
Well, I would say taste for art. We tend to like the same kind of art when it comes to literature, when it comes to music, when it comes to visual art, like paintings and such. So I enjoy talking to her about this. And we also both like talking about social issues, which are quite common in America, like racism, classism. And so those are topics we usually get hooked on. We talk about quite a lot.
Wow, that sounds really great. like two nerds talking to each other.
Most definitely. She's such a nerd and I love her so much for it. We both are.
That's great. But I like that you have so much in common. And what about your future? Are you planning your life together or something else?
I don't think there is a reason to be in a relationship if you don't want to marry the person. So ever since we started dating, my main goal was to go and marry that girl, put a ring on it, as Beyoncé says. And and yeah, that's my plan so far. We will probably live in America for a few years and then see where life takes us.
And are you happy about going to the US?
I am happy to be going to my girlfriend. I am interested in US. Not necessarily happy, but interested.
Okay, so I'm very curious how your future goes and if you get married soon. And what about children? Are you also planning family like this?
I was never planning on having a family. I never planned on it. But after meeting her, I must say it would be a shame not to have at least one little kid running around one day.
That's
so,
nice.
Yes, we are planning on it.
Okay, good to hear that. Those are typical grandma's questions, but
course.
I had to ask because I'm a curious person. Okay, so thank you very much for all information. I hope it was understandable for everyone. And I think that we try to speak more slowly and distinctly. So a little bit summary of previous conversation. Maybe we added some more details. I don't know. So it's not bad to listen to both episodes at once and you can compare the speed and the words and so on. But now we are going to finish our dialogue here. We just found out that his girlfriend, which has I forgot her name, it's a complicated name. Sita. So Sita is from America. They have been together for 1 year. They met in Czech Republic, but they are trying to or they are planning to live in the future in the USA, probably go back one day, but that's not sure. And they like being together, even though it's distance relationship. There are of course some disadvantages, but she seems very nice and kind, and even though she's probably too kind, they have a lot in common, like arts and political discussions or things like that, and they are planning the future together. So I hope that their relationship would last forever.
Thank you so much.
So see you next time, and bye.
Bye.